Hi, this is Lisa. In this video, we're going to talk about solving linear equations. The multiplication property of equality says that if A, B, and C represent real numbers and A is not 0, then A equals B and AC equals BC are equivalent. In other words, you can multiply or divide both sides of an equation by the same amount without changing its solution. So as we saw in the previous video, the addition principle, addition and subtraction go hand in hand, multiplication and division go together as well. Example number 1, 1/5 x equals 4. Well, 1/5 means 1 divided by 5. So where I'm dividing by 5, if I want to clear that fraction, I multiply both sides of my equation by 5. 5 over 5 cancels, leaving me with x equals 4 times 5, or 20. Example number 2 says -2 equals x divided by 3. If I'm dividing by 3, I'm going to multiply by 3 to clear that fraction. 3 times -2 is -6 is equal to the 3 on the top and the 3 on the bottom cancel here, and we get x. Notice you're only multiplying the numerator by 3. You're multiplying by 3. In example number 3, we have 7 equals 4x. Remember, 4x means 4 times x. So in this example, we want to divide both sides of our equation by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. So we're left with 7/4 equals x. Fractions are perfectly fine to have in your answers. In MyLabs Plus, the only time you do a decimal is when there's a decimal in the original problem. Example number 4 says -3y equals -15. -3 times y means I'm going to divide by -3. Whatever I do on the right, I do the same thing on the left. -3 over -3 is 1. 1 times y is y. -15 divided by -3 is 5. My answer here is 5. Number 5 is just a little bit different. We have two fractions here. You want to multiply by a common denominator. The common denominator in this case is 8. Okay, 8 is the lowest common denominator. Another common denominator, if you get stuck on this problem, you can always multiply your different denominators together. 4 times 8, 32 would be a common denominator, and that would work just as well as 8. I'm going to multiply both sides of my equation by 8. And if you have a hard time with fractions, let me show you how to do this on the calculator. And I just realized this equation is in here incorrectly. I'm going to have you fix it. The original equation should say 7x minus 3 equals 6x. And then we're going to use our addition property. I need to get all of my x terms on the same side of the equation. I'm going to subtract 7x from the left, and I'm going to subtract 7x from the right. 7x minus 7x is 0, minus 3 leaves me with -3 equals 6x minus 7x is -1x. And here's where I use that principle for -1s. I'm going to divide both sides of my equation by -1 so that the negatives will cancel, and I wind up with 3 equals x. When you're typing your answers in MyLabs Plus, oftentimes they will give you a solution set, and all they want you to do is type in the numeric answer. Don't type 3 equals x, just type 3. So now we're going to put all of those properties or principles together to solve an equation. The first thing you want to do is simplify each side separately. If there are parentheses, distribute to eliminate the parentheses. Clear all fractions by multiplying both sides of the equation by a common denominator. And if you have like terms on the same side of the equation, combine those. Step 2, use the addition principle to get all the variable terms together on one side of the equal sign and constant terms or numbers on the other side. Use the multiplication principle to get the variable by itself, and check your answer by plugging it into the original equation. Example 1, 3x plus 2 equals 11. If it helps you, keep that vertical line there where your equal side is so you can remember what's on each side of that equal sign. I don't have any parentheses or fractions here, so I'm going to start by using my addition principle. I have a plus 2, I'm going to make this minus 2. I always start, I'd like to say, furthest away from the x, and that 2 is farther from the x than the 3 is. So that's where I start, the addition principle. 2 minus 2 is 0, so I'm left with 3x equals 11 minus 2 is 9. Now I'm going to use my multiplication property. I have 3 times x, so I need to divide both sides by 3. And that will give me x equals 3. There's my answer. Check your answer in the original equation. Okay, my original equation was 3x plus 2 equals 11. What I'm going to do is I'm going to substitute in for x. We said our answer was 3. Is 3 times 3 plus 2, is that equal to 11? 3 times 3 is 9 plus 2. 11 equals 11. I've checked my answer. I know this answer is correct. Example number 2. I need to get my r's on the same side of the equation. I am going to start by subtracting r from each side of my equation. 4r minus r is 3r minus 2 equals r minus r is 0 minus 6 is a negative 6. All my r's are on the left. I need to move my numbers to the right. Minus 2 becomes plus 2. 3r equals negative 4. And to get my r by itself now, I need to use my multiplication principle and divide both sides by 3. R equals negative 4 thirds. There's my answer that I'm going to type into MyLabs Plus. Example number 3. Again, I'm going to put that line down it. When I look now at my right-hand side, I have 1m plus 5m. I'm going to combine my like terms. Everything else stays the same, but 1m plus 5m is plus 6m. Now I need to get all my m's together. Does not matter which side you move your m's to. So to show you that, I'm just going to move mine to the right-hand side. So I'm going to subtract 4m. So negative 2 equals negative 6. 6m minus 4m is plus 2m. And then I need to move my numbers to the other side. I'm going to add 6 to both sides. So I get 4 equals 2m, and my multiplication principle says divide both sides by 2, because 2 over 2 cancels, and I have 2 equals m. Final answer. Example number 4. Here I have parentheses. So I need to distribute to get rid of the parentheses first. Negative 2 times 2s is negative 4s. Negative 2 times negative 4 is positive 8 equals 3s. Again, I want to get all my s terms on the same side of the equation. I'm going to add 4s to both sides of my equation. 8 equals 7s. And my multiplication principle says 7 times s. I need to divide by 7 to get s by itself. And I have 8 sevenths equals s. Final answer. And the last problem in this section, this time a little bit more complicated. There's more stuff to do here. We're going to distribute first to get rid of our parentheses. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 3 times 2r is 6r, equals. Now here, the only thing we're distributing is that negative sign. You can think of it as we're multiplying each term by -1. 20. -1 times 4r is -4r. -1 times 4 is -4. On the right-hand side, I have some like terms. I have 20 minus 4. So 6 plus 6r equals 20 minus 4 is 16, and we still have minus 4r. Get all the r's together. I'm going to add 4r to both sides of my equation. 6 plus 6r plus 4r is 10r equals 16, because -4r plus 4r is 0. I need to get all my numbers together. I'm going to subtract 6 because I want that 10r by itself. 10r equals 10, and multiplication property, 10 times r, I'm going to divide both sides by 10. And I get r equals 1. There's my answer. Now, I'm going to go back. I'm going to check this one. Let me see if I can copy that equation. I'm going to start, when I check, I'm going to start with the original equation. And I'm going to do the left-hand side and the right-hand side separately. Everywhere where I have an r, I'm going to replace it with 1. So my left-hand side will be 3 times 2 plus 2 times 1. So, order of operations, we're going to do what's inside the parentheses first. Multiply. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. And 3 times 4 is 12. On the right-hand side, 20 minus parentheses 4 times 1 plus 4. 20 minus 4 times 1 is 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. 20 minus 8 is 12. Those two are equal, so it does check. R equals 1 is my correct answer. And that concludes the video on solving linear equations. Have a great day.